Hey guys, thank you for joining. Today's topic will be a bit lighter than my usual topics, but hopefully at least the same entertaining and like bringing you some value. Maybe even though it will be a bit more fun value today, but hopefully it will give you something. And today's topic is okay. I've been in the relocation business for 11 years. So I'm used to getting plenty of questions from like very random questions to very legit questions and very like focused on detailed questions, all kind of questions. But there are three I would like to share with you today, which are the weirdest questions, in my opinion, which we've been getting lately. So I'll always explain why I find them weird. And So the three weird questions we get are: number one, do you have an office? Number two, have you ever had a case like this? And number three, what is the approval rate for this kind of visa? So why I find these questions so weird? So let's go through them one by one, and I'll always explain. Okay. So number one, do you have an office? Well, no. We have 10 employees, and they all work from parks and different cafes. Well, yeah, obviously we have an office. We also have it in our like email signatures and everything. Obviously, I know where this question is coming from, because there are companies which will tell you, hey, we need to meet in a cafe because it is more convenient for you, or our office is in reconstruction or whatever. But yeah, obviously that's a bullshit. It's kind of fine. We started like that, but now we have employees and we've been in the business for 11 years. So yeah, we have an office. We actually, have a pretty nice view. On the other hand, it's in an affordable building. So we don't have to overcharge you for just paying the office. But, for me, it's kind of strange if you meet someone, or if you're doing your visa process with someone who doesn't have an office. They will be working with your like precious documents, like your passport or originals of your documents, trade license, lease agreement, all this. And like, if they don't have an office, where do they keep it? Like in a box next to their guinea pig? It's kind of, I would probably not give my documents to someone who doesn't have an office. So we have an office. To make this question like answered, we have an office. Feel free to stop by. We'll be happy to show you around and make you some coffee or get a beer from the fridge. And yeah, but it's very weird. I guess there is a reason people ask it. I guess because of what I explained, that there are some companies which don't have an office, and I understand it. So just to make this clear, we have an office. So question number two, have you ever had a case like this? Well, two types of people ask this question. Number one, first group of people just want to feel like unique. Okay, and to them, it's completely fine. Yeah, we've never had a case like yours. Let's do it together first time. But most of the people ask because they want to know that you have the experience, that you can take care of them. And to that, I would say that we've been in the business for 11 years. We've worked with about 10,000 people. So we have quite some experience, and it's very likely that whatever case you bring in, that we've had a case like that. Obviously, there are cases we've had more, like some types of visas we do more than the others. But generally, we've had so many different cases and situations that it's difficult to surprise us with something. Of course, and that's actually one of the things I love about this job still, after 11 years I've been doing it, is that there are still, even after 11 years, there are things we've never seen before, we've never done before. The immigration law changes every 2 years. So there is still something new. And actually, your case can be something we've never done before. But generally, after 10,000 people we've worked with, we have a pretty good experience with most of the scenarios you can encounter. But as mentioned, I understand this question because usually people just want to know that we are experienced enough to deal with their case. So that's fine, but it's kind of, for me, it's kind of strange because I know I've been with the company, or we've established the company with Daria 11 years ago. So we've seen all the cases, even though we now have employees and they deal with the clients and everything. We still like oversee the clients and the cases. So we know about most of them. So it just kind of makes me laugh a bit. Like, have you ever case like this? Yeah. So that was question number 2. Question number 3 is, what is the approval rate for my visa application? Well, this is kind of a legit question. It's not like funny or stupid or like weird. But the thing is that there is no legal right to get a visa for the Czech Republic. If the decision making officer doesn't like the color of your hair or like the color of your t-shirt or whatever, they can deny the visa application and you cannot do anything, because there is no legal right to get a visa. If the Czech Republic doesn't want you here, they don't need to accept it. Or they don't need to accept you and approve your visa application. So actually, there is never, even though the case might be the simplest case ever, there is never a guarantee that you will 100% get the visa approved. Generally, we've had over 95% approval rate. For example, it depends on the type of visa, but for example, for employee cards, it's like 99.9 because like we don't really have any denials there. For some visas, it might be a bit less, especially if those cases are very kind of special. But generally, what we tell to our clients is that it doesn't really depend on your nationality or the type of visa you're applying. The approval rate doesn't change that much because of that. What changes the approval rate is how well the application is prepared. Because if you go to the embassy and you have half of the documents, or you don't know what questions they will be asking you during the interview, or you don't even know there is an interview and that they will be asking you some questions, then obviously your chances are decreasing every minute you spend at the embassy. On the other hand, if you know what to expect, if we explain to you what to expect, if you have all the documents in order, if you have even more documents than needed, if you know what answers you should give to the officer who's asking you the question during the interview, then obviously the chances increase. So it's not about the type of visa you apply for. It's not about your nationality. It's not about the embassy you apply through. It doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is how realistic is your case and how well prepared is the application. And if you're real about moving to the Czech Republic, if you just want to get a visa to Europe and you don't really care, because we get these questions a lot as well, like, or inquiries. Hey, I'm from this and that country. I just want to get any type of visa in any EU country. Can you help me? No, definitely not in the Czech Republic, because Czech Republic is generally very protective and doesn't give visas easily. There are different quotas and everything. So we generally, Czech Republic doesn't really want foreigners into Czech Republic, and they try to make it complicated. So if you're just or if you're just looking to get out of your country and you don't really care what country you will go to or what kind of visa you get, then definitely don't choose the Czech Republic, because then it would be a waste of time and money. But if you're real about your purpose of stay, if you really want to study in the Czech Republic, you've chosen some program you really are interested in and you really want to be here and study, that's fine. If you really want to do business here, if you found a great opportunity and you've made some steps and you've already established the business and you have a business plan, all this, go for it. If you found a job, go for it, apply for the visa, and if you do it properly, then the approval rate will be high. If you just want to try it, then it probably just makes no sense to even apply, because if you just want to try it, most likely the visa will not be approved. So that's why I find this question kind of weird, because it's not about like general approval rate or something. If the application is prepared correctly and perfectly, then the approval rate is like 95% and higher. Doesn't matter your nationality, doesn't matter the purpose of your stay. If the application is prepared by some lousy either person, if you do it yourself, or even they're lousy immigration agents in the Czech Republic, especially those who don't have offices, then obviously if you prepare the application this way, then your chances are very low. So it's not about that, it's about how well prepared the application is. Okay, so that was the official part, and that was the 3 weird questions we get. Number 1, do you have an office? No, we don't. Obviously. Number 2, have you ever had a case like this? And number 3, what is the approval rate in these cases? So those were the 3 random questions. Let's now go through the questions you send me now. So I'll start with Facebook, and then I'll go to YouTube. So Mohammed or Hadar Mohammed, could you tell us what is the difference between residence permit without EU mention and the normal one without? I don't exactly know what you mean, but probably, or Mohammed, for me, my interview was 2 hours, and unfortunately I was panicked. I did some mistakes. Okay, so I'll start with that. Yes. Mohammed, did you take care of your visa yourself, or did you use any agents? Because that's very important. If you, for example, go through us for a business visa, for student visas and business visas, there are interviews basically all the time. Sometimes it happens that they don't do an interview, especially for the student visa, but generally for student visas and business visas, there is always an interview at the embassy when you're submitting the application. And if you don't know about it, or if you know about it, but no one prepared you for the questions, it can go very badly. And yes, in some countries, if you're an American and you're applying for a visa as an English teacher, the interview is like 15 minutes usually, 15 to 30, nothing too complicated, 7 questions, all good. If you're from a different country like India, Pakistan, African countries, Ukraine, the interviews can be like 2 hours and can go very deep. We had a lady from Ukraine, and she was supposed to teach English in the Czech Republic. And they even asked her questions about like what animal was celebrating its birthday in the Vienna Zoo when she visited. Because in her passport, there was like the stamp that she visited Vienna. So they asked about this kind of random shit, you know? And the interview was really like 2 hours, and they went really deep into that. And they wanted to like kind of trick her and see if she's just trying to get the visa or if she has some real business plan. So it can, for me, it was, I was applied for employment card in Algeria consulate. That's kind of strange because for the employee card, there is usually no interview. They can ask you some random questions about your job and what you will be doing, what will be your salary, where is the office located, but officially there is no interview. So it's very interesting that they ask you. But anyway, if you do the process yourself, so you have no chance of finding out what kind of questions they ask, or if you do the process through some agency which is not experienced, you can easily answer incorrectly, because like even slightest misunderstandings or slightest changes in the answer can lead to like a denial or approval. So when you go through us, we prepare you for all the questions because we know what kind of questions they ask and what they want to hear. So when you go there, you know what to expect. Obviously, it's not always the same because it depends on the officer and the consulate, the embassy, all this. But generally, the topics and the questions generally are very similar all the time. So you at least know what to expect and what generally is the idea they want to hear. So it's definitely good to be prepared for this. And back to the other question of Mohammed, what is the difference between residence permit without EU mention and the normal one with EU mention? I guess you mean the EU blue card or the EU permanent residence permit. Generally, EU blue card doesn't mean anything. EU blue card is the same as blue card. It just means that it's the same all around Europe. So you can have a blue card in Germany, then you can kind of translate it into blue card in the Czech Republic, and then you can translate it into a blue card somewhere else. So it's just about this. It's not like EU blue card would be something different than a blue card. It's just like this. Then there is a permanent residency with a status or without a status of a long-term resident of the EU. And that's kind of significant difference because if you have the status of a long-term resident of the EU, it comes with some additional benefits. If you don't have it, you don't have these benefits either. And the thing is that in most other countries, they issue this status kind of automatically. In the Czech Republic, you need to apply for it separately. So in the Czech Republic, it can actually happen that you will get a permanent residency, but not the status of a long-term resident of the EU. which kind of like limits your advantages when moving somewhere else. So it's best, if you're applying for a permanent residency, it's best to keep it in mind and just request it along with the permanent residency, because the ministry should give it to you kind of automatically as well. They just don't if you don't request it. So that's probably the difference, if it makes sense for you. Okay, so that was Facebook, and now let's see YouTube. Sandeep Kohil, hello sir. Last time we talked about some supporting documents Ministry of Vnitra asking me for. Then I sent it and they got today, and I confirmed that by call they received my documents. So my question after this case, Ministry of Vnitra, how much time take like in this case? Okay, well, if the ministry requested some documents from you, you send it to them and they confirm that they received it, and they even gave you a call, which is very strange as well. They usually don't do it. But if they call you and said, yeah, okay, we received it, all good, then you never know. Generally, if these documents were the last pieces they were waiting for, and now they received it and even confirmed, then the decision should come very fast, like within a week, maybe 2 tops. But sometimes it happens that they request some additional documents first before they even start considering the case, because they just don't want to keep approving it if you're missing some important documents. So in some cases, this can actually be the start of the approval process. But in most cases, if you've been in the approval process for some time, then the ministry requested some documents and you delivered the documents, then usually the approval comes pretty fast. But obviously, it depends on the case. So hopefully this was useful. Salas DZ, thanks a lot for the amazing job you're doing. I'm blushing now. Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to provide some value and to be useful. So I'm happy that you appreciate it. If you want to appreciate it even more, if you know Patreon, you can support me there, and you can get even access to a private group where you can message me anytime, and where you can ask questions and share your experience with other fellow expats. So, no, I called. You called. Okay, Sandeep, yeah, that makes more sense that you called and they confirmed. Then they would call you back. Okay. So Mohammed again, my friend, he was applied for student visa before 2 months, but till now his application didn't process, and in the website of MOI not found. Okay, Theodora Patreon, what is that? It's actually written, I don't know if I can write it here. Let me see if I can do that. Patreon, it's written like this. And it's a platform where creators like me, for example, provide some additional value to people. So here I'm doing this live stream for free. Anyone can join. Anyone can ask some questions, and I will reply as much as I can. Within the 20-25 minutes I usually do the live streams. But in Patreon, you get some extra benefits. You get access, for example, to all my previous videos. So all the content I've ever made is there. Plus, you can get some special content, either some special like one-to-one consultations, or like consultations for the private group, or you can be part of my private WhatsApp group where you can have my private number and you can ask questions directly. And that comes with some small monthly fee, like $10, and you can get all these benefits. So guys, if you know Patreon, I'll be happy if you go there now and find me and support me there. So yeah, Theodora, that's Patreon, and if you support me there, I'll be very happy. Mohammed, so back to your question. My friend was applied a student visa 2 months before. Now application didn't process, and it in website not found. Well, it depends. I've mentioned this topic many times because it's one of the common questions as well. That if you applied, for example, for the Czech visa at the Czech embassy in India, for example. Yeah, okay. How can we join the Patreon? I would need to send it. So you're watching in the Facebook group, so I'll share a link to the Patreon in the comments when I finish the stream, and I'll do the same. I'll do the same on YouTube. So I'll share the link to my Patreon, and you can take a look. And if you join, I'll be super happy. But so finally, I can answer the question of Mohammed. Yeah. So what happens often is that if you thank you very much, Mohammed. So if you submit your application, for example, in India, the embassy, Czech embassy in India, doesn't make the decision. So they need to take your documents, physically mail them to the Czech Republic, to the Ministry of the Interior, and then at the ministry, someone needs to sort out the mail because they receive plenty of mail every day. Thank you very much, Mohammed. I will really start blushing now. Then it needs to go. Your file needs to go to someone somewhere else, usually in some other building or even a different city. And then the person needs to get assigned the case, and then they start working on that. So it's possible that even after 1 month, no one even started working on your case. So you don't have the application number yet because it's not in the system. So that can happen. 2 months is quite a long time. So it would be good to double check directly with the ministry, to maybe just go there. If you're here, you can go ask for your friend, or you can, for example, hire other services to go to the ministry and ask about the case. Oh boy, Mohammed, stop it. So many hearts and everything. Thank you very much. Yeah, so another thing is that if you, for example, if your application is denied, then it shows that it was denied in the system. But then you, for example, make an appeal, and then it goes back to the like in process phase. So this can also change on the online system of the ministry. So it can be one status now, different status tomorrow. But if he's not there at all, then I would recommend going to the ministry and asking in person. If you're here, then your friend can give you a power of attorney, and you can go to the ministry and ask, and you will see what's going on. And you can actually get the application number of the Ministry of the Interior, not the one you get from the embassy, because that's not that important anyway, but the one you get from the Ministry of the Interior. So that might be a good solution. And I did another video about the 2 different application numbers previously. So please also refer to that. Dave Chauhan, I believe I pronounce it correctly. After getting RP, residence permit, do we need to face any language course which has length of 2 days? I just heard it, not sure if it's true or what. Okay, yeah, that's a good question, actually. Yes, there is something called integration courses, which means that if you get a residence permit after the 1st of January 2021, so even now, you need to go, in most cases, not in some cases, there are some exceptions which are very confusing, but in most cases, you need to go through an integration course. That means that you need to go sit in a classroom for 4 hours. I believe it's just 4 hours, not 2 days, but 4 hours. And you will listen to the customs of the Czech Republic, how it works here, and what are your rights if you get employment, so like the social security, healthcare, like the basic information about the Czech Republic and your rights here. And that course is mandatory. Integration courses, but there are some exceptions, so it doesn't apply to exactly everyone, but in most cases it does apply. So yes, if you got the residence permit freshly approved, then it's very likely that you will need to go through the integration course. If you need more info, either go to the website where you can check the status of your application, which is FRS, like Foreigners Reservation System, .gov.cz or something like that. If you Google it, you'll find it. And there is more information about that. And especially if you already have an account in this FRS system, then you can book everything through there directly. So it's true that you need to go through the integration course, but I believe it's not 2 days, it's just 4 hours, but you need to go there, you need to listen to what they're saying, and you will be integrated after that. You will get a certificate, you need to deliver it to the ministry, and it's all good. If you don't do that, you can get up to, I believe, 10,000 crowns fine. So it's, in my opinion, it's better to do it, even if you don't have to. If you're not sure that you have to do it anyway, because it's better to do it and pay like 1,500 crowns than not to do it and pay 10,000 crowns fine for not doing it. Plus, it might actually give you some information. I've seen people send us some topics they discussed, and it was, I would not say like really game changing or life changing, but it's some important information and can be interesting. So it might be useful. So if you're not sure if you have to do it anyway, and it will be all good. So now questions from YouTube. Funny or TikTok? Okay, funny or TikTok. Hello, thank you for everything. That's not a question. That's not a question. Thank you very much. This is great, guys. I really appreciate you coming to my live streams. Some of you are coming regularly because I do live streams every Monday and Thursday. I do live streams for free. You can join my Patreon account for like some extra content and access to my private WhatsApp group, for example. But I do this every Monday, Thursday. I always choose some topic which people ask on Facebook or which I find interesting or important, and I do a live stream like this. I usually try to keep it short and simple. Like my general idea was 5 to 10 minutes, but as you can see now, it usually ends up like 26, 30 minutes, and that's because of you. And I actually very appreciate it, because if you ask questions, if you interact, if you tell me that what I'm doing is great, that you appreciate it, it really is great for me. So thank you very much for that. Thank you for joining. So Funny on TikTok, thank you very much as well for joining and being here with me today. Mohammed, with bank, good for expats in Czech Republic. Okay, you have many questions and good questions. That's perfect. So banks, it depends on if you already have a visa or not. If you have a visa, then you can choose basically any type of bank you want, because all of them will open a bank account for you. It's just about which one is good or not. If you don't have a visa yet, then you cannot really choose, because most banks do not open a bank account to people who don't have any visa or residence permit in the Czech Republic. So in that case, if you don't have a visa yet, you're an American or Australian or someone who can be here without a visa for 90 days as a tourist, and you want to open a bank account, then I would recommend either Equa Bank or Airbank. They still do. There are some conditions, like in Airbank, for example, you need to have a Czech speaker with you because they officially don't have anything in English. So they cannot like force you to sign something you don't understand. So if you want to open a bank account in Airbank, you need to bring a Czech speaker with you, but you can do it even without a visa. The same for Equa Bank. It just don't need a Czech speaker. They usually speak English as well there, but you need to prove some connection to the Czech Republic, like I have a lease agreement or employment contract already, or a trade license, business, something, and then they can open a bank account. Other banks will not open a bank account if you don't have a visa. If you have a visa already or a long-term residence permit, then you can choose basically from all the banks, because all of them will open a bank account for you. And then it depends. We basically have three types of banks in the Czech Republic. First type is the old big banks like Komerční banka, Česká spořitelna. Then a second type is the fresh online banks like Airbank or mBank. And then the third is something in between, which is, for example, Raiffeisen Bank, UniCredit Bank, this type of banks. The difference is that the old big ones, Komerční banka, Česká spořitelna, they charge you for everything. Every transactions you make, they charge you. You need to pay monthly fees, like, I don't know, 150 crowns just for like sending them your money, you know? It's stupid. And there is a competition in the Czech Republic where every year we vote for the most stupid fee in banks. And you would say that after 10 years of running this contest, the banks will kind of like improve, but there are still very stupid like things, like for depositing money to your own bank account, you need to pay some fees and stuff like that. So so the big banks, their advantage is that they have branches everywhere. They have ATMs everywhere. So Česká spořitelna, if you want to go to Česká spořitelna in person, you want to sort out something, you can find them everywhere. They have branches all around the city, all around the Czech Republic. Even in small cities where other banks maybe are not based, Česká spořitelna is there. So if this is important for you, then the big banks are good. Komerční banka, Česká spořitelna. But you need to be ready that you will be paying for everything. And on the other hand of the spectrum, there are the online banks, the new banks, which don't want to see you in person at all, so you can do everything online. And on the other hand, you don't pay for anything. Basically, usually the accounts there are for free. So Airbank, mBank, banks like this, they usually like don't charge you anything, and you can do most of the things online. So on the other hand, the disadvantage is if you need to do something in person, for example, deposit your money in cash, you cannot do it. They don't work with cash in the branches. They have very few branches. And also, so if you want to, for example, deposit your money, you can either find an ATM somewhere around the city. They have like 5 all around the city where you can deposit money. So you can either find an ATM, or you need to go to a post office and deposit your money through the post office somehow. So it's very inconvenient. Also, if you, for example, need to get some documents for your visa, it can sometimes be more complicated to get any documents from banks like this, because if they don't have branches where they can just print it out, they need to send it to you via email, but you cannot use the email, just a PDF for your visa application, because the ministry needs originals. So it's kind of, it has pluses and minuses. But if you already have your visa, you don't need to go to the bank at all in person. Then these online banks are great because you don't pay any fees usually. And then there is something in between, which means that the banks, Valeria, I see your question. So I'll get there in a second. I just want to finish this topic about banks. So the third category of banks is something in between the huge ones, old ones that charge for everything, and the small ones, online ones, which don't charge for anything. And that's, for example, Raiffeisen Bank, UniCredit, Equa, banks like this. And what it means that they're in between is that they have enough branches and enough ATMs, so that's convenient to deal with them if you really need to do something in person. On the other hand, they don't charge anything for having their account as long as you meet some requirements. Usually it's very easy to meet those, like you need to receive at least 15,000 crowns a month to your bank account and like make at least 3 transactions by card or transfer or something. And if you meet these simple conditions, then you can have the account for free. So depends, these 3 types of banks. So it depends on what is important for you and so hopefully this was a good enough answer. Dave, I see another question you posted, so I will get to it in a second. I'll just go back to Valeria Vishnevskaya now. I have a student permit in Germany, waiting my residence permit. I want to move to Czech Republic. If I find a job, can I apply in Germany for working permit in the Czech Republic? Thank you. Yeah, generally, yes. I don't know where you're from, but I would say that you're not an EU citizen. So maybe judging on your name, maybe Ukraine, Russia, Belarus, places like that. So in that case, you can generally apply for a Czech visa or Czech residence permit in the country of your origin, at the Czech embassy in the country of your origin, or in the country where you hold a long-term or permanent residence permit. So I'm from Russia. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Очень приятно, Valeria. Очень приятно. So if you're from Russia, you can either apply for the Czech employee card in Russia, at the Czech consulate in Russia, in Moscow or St. Petersburg, or you can do it in the country where you hold a long-term or permanent residency. So if you have a long-term or permanent residence permit in Germany, then you can apply at the Czech embassy in Berlin. So yeah, it's definitely best, because if you need to apply from Russia, and especially for the employee card, it might be kind of difficult because there are different quotas for how many applications can be submitted every year. So if you have a residence permit in Germany, you can definitely do it in Germany, and you should definitely do it in Germany. Yeah, so hopefully that answered your questions. If you have more, please feel free to ask. Back to Dave. Will it be in English or in Czech? I came here on category D. It's my second residence permit. I'm not sure that I should go to the integration course or not. I have account with FRS.gov, CZ. What option can I look for exactly? Whereabout do I need or not? Well, if you have this account, you just go to the frs.gov.cz and you will find the integration courses. Let me just open it right now. I don't know I hope that the Facebook will still record, but if you go there and I switch to English, Then at the login page, you have the adaptation and integration courses, the blue button. So if you click on that, you have all the rules described there. So it exactly describes who needs to apply or who needs to go through the course and who doesn't. So all the information is there. As mentioned, it's kind of confusing anyway, all those rules, but you can find all the information there. Also the like guide on what to do next. As for the course itself, it's in Czech, but there is always a translator available who translates it to English or other languages. Officially, it's in Czech, and now I'm back on Facebook. Yeah, so officially it's in Czech, but there is always a translator, so they translate it into other languages as well. Okay, guys, any more questions? Valeria, no more questions? Because like finding job in the Czech Republic is kind of difficult, but if you're in Europe already, and especially in Germany, because it's very close to the Czech Republic, then you definitely have more chances than if you were trying to look for a job from Russia. Because if you wanted to get a residence permit or the employee card, for example, to move here from Russia, then it would be a process for half a year, for example, and usually companies do not want to wait that long. But if you live in Germany, you can come to the Czech Republic, the company can see you actually, they can test you and see if you're a good fit. And then you can apply in Germany. If you have the residence permit in Germany, you can apply at the Czech embassy in Berlin, and that will like speed up the process. So actually you have chances to find a job here. Mohammed, you're honest man, seriously. Thank you very much. I hope it's a compliment. Being honest sometimes means being kind of a bit harsh and like telling the truth as it is and not how you want to hear it. But I guess you appreciate it. And that's what we've been doing. Like, we started the business with Daria 11 years ago. And in the beginning, we had no experience. We had no like money. We had like nothing. We started from zero. And we were telling our clients, hey, we don't charge much because we have no idea what we're doing. We'll do our best. We speak Czech. We've been through the processes on our own. So we know roughly what it's about, but we're new in the business. That's why we charge that little. And people accepted that because, okay, you can either pay more and hire someone more experienced, or you just want to risk it with us. You believe in us that we will do our best, and you will charge, you will pay way less. So that's how we started, and we actually do it. We keep the same approach until now. We've grown, and we've worked with 10,000 people in those 11 years, and we are now like 9-10 people in the company. So we have some employees and offices, all this. So we've grown somehow, but we always are honest with our clients, because it makes no sense to tell you some bullshit which will not work in the real life. Because in the Czech Republic, one interesting thing is that some things are written in the law, how it officially should work, but then something else happens in real life. And it's important to know these differences, because if you don't, and you just stick to the law, it doesn't always have to work out, even though it's in the law. On the other hand, obviously, if you don't know the law and you just like act on what you heard somewhere, that's not good either. So we're already a combination of the experience from the real life and also the knowledge of the law. Okay, Dave. Guys, we're already I've been here for 40 minutes. So that will be probably the last question I'll answer. Maybe one more. If someone else has one more question, I'll answer it. But then my throat is getting sore from the talking. One of my friends got PR last week. Is it possible for him to move somewhere in other EU countries like Netherlands or Switzerland? What are options he has for settlement somewhere in other EU countries? Well, there are two perspectives to that. If he's a non-EU citizen, he got the standard permanent residency, passing the language exam, all this. Then, if he also got the status of the long-term resident of the EU, it must be written on the card, then he can move to other countries. He still needs to get a local residency or local residence permit in that country. So if he wants to move to Germany, he will still eventually need to get a residence permit in Germany, but it will be way easier with the PR than without that. So that's one perspective. It will definitely be easier. It's not like he has a free card now to move to any country and work there freely. It's not like that, but it will definitely be way easier to get the residence permit in some other countries. And it has also some benefits. So he can work freely, but only for some limited amount of time. And if he wants to move there permanently, then he needs to apply for a residence permit anyway. But yes, it will be definitely easier. Another thing is that I believe there is 6 years rule. So if he wants to keep the Czech permanent residency, he cannot stay outside of the Czech Republic for longer than 6 years within the EU, or longer than 1 year outside of the EU. So that's another thing to consider. He can move to other countries, but if he wants to keep the permanent residency, he cannot be away for too long. 6 years, that's kind of a long time. That's 6 years in the EU and 1 year outside of the EU. So if he moves, I don't know, to Turkey or wherever he's from, and he spends there 2 years and then he comes back, then the permanent residency could be actually canceled. I'm not saying that it happens in real life. That's the difference between the law and the real life, but it could. There are some rules for that. So there are two things to consider. One thing, it will be easier for him to move somewhere else, but he still needs to meet the local requirements and get a local permit in many cases. On the other hand, also, he should not stay away for too long. Mohammed and Valeria. Valeria, thank you. I'm studying in Berlin. I'm waiting for first residence permit. Yeah, so Berlin, that's perfect. First, it's a nice city. I've been there a couple times and I liked it, so enjoy. Prague is way better though, so definitely move to Prague. But there is also a Czech consulate or Czech embassy in Berlin, so it would be easy for you to apply. And if you live there, once you get the residence permit, then you will be able to apply at the Czech embassy there, and you can get an appointment pretty swiftly. And it should be pretty not easy. I'm not saying that it will be like a piece of cake, but it's doable definitely to move you here. Mohit, could you send me the PDF of your prices services? Yeah, of course. Please get in touch with me directly, and I will tell me what kind of services, because we have plenty of services. We provide plenty of services in Move to Prague, from all types of visas or residence permits, permanent residency, to also looking for apartments. If you're looking to rent an apartment, we can help with that as well. We provide health insurance, the private or the public. So we're kind of one-stop shop. If you're moving to the Czech Republic or living here as an expat, we can help you with everything you need. So that's the whole point. You don't need to call a real estate agent to find a flat, then visa agency to get your visa, and go to a health insurance company to get health insurance. We do everything in Move to Prague at one place. So that's the whole idea of Move to Prague, being your first friend in Prague and being able to do everything at once under one roof. So we provide wide range of services. So we don't have any PDF list in everything, but if you tell me exactly what you're looking for, I'll be happy to send you all the details. And I will definitely share a link to my Patreon on Facebook and YouTube as well. But I will share a link also where you can contact us directly, so it's easy for you. You don't have to go through all the contacts and fill in forms or whatever. I'll send you the contacts there. Okay, Dave, thanks a lot. Very happy to hear you. Yes, you pronounced my name correctly. Happy to hear that. I'm from India. Send me PM about your correct location where I can meet. Yes, please get in touch with me, because I usually, especially after live streams, I receive very many messages. So I often take some time to reply them all. And I'm not sure, I cannot promise that I will find you and that I will send you a message. But if you add me as a friend on Facebook, and if you send me a message, I will definitely get to it. I'll try to do it as soon as possible, but sometimes it's not in my capabilities to reply everyone right away. But please send me a message and I'll be happy to connect with you and discuss. Okay, guys, it's been 45 minutes. I really thought that this time it would be shorter because the topic was just 3 weird questions we get, and we've gotten completely to a different direction. But I'm very happy to hear that. If you don't follow me on TikTok, please do, because I'm growing pretty big there. Obviously, in my own terms. I don't have like millions of followers because the niche, like the people move it to the Czech Republic, it's not that big group. But I have a good following and I do a very good content there, I believe. I do similar content on Instagram, but I'm not really good with Instagram. I just don't understand the platform. I'm too old for that. I haven't started it when it started years ago, and now I'm trying to catch on, but it's difficult for me. So TikTok, definitely better. And yeah, if you're not part of my group, expats in CZE help and support group on Facebook, please join. Please subscribe on my YouTube. I post all the long videos there, and I do all the live streams every Monday and Thursday on YouTube. So you can catch me here always. And as well, join my Patreon so you can be part of my private WhatsApp group and you can ask questions there directly. So Dave, good night. Thanks a lot. I'll text you on Facebook. Thank you very much. We'll be looking forward. So guys, thank you all. Let me see if I can see who's watching. Mary, thank you very much, Mary, for watching. Mohammed, thank you very much for watching. Valeria, thank you very much as well. Let me see if I can see on. I cannot see it on YouTube, but anyway, Valeria is still here, I believe. So thank you very much for joining, guys. Thank you very much for making this live stream that long and that interesting, because it was my pleasure to answer all your questions, because you had good questions. So I'm happy to do that. And see you next time. Please join all my social media platforms to receive some more content from me. If you like this, join my Patreon. I'll be happy to see that. And see you next time. See you on Thursday. Thank you. Bye-bye, guys. And now YouTube. Here we go. Bye.